Hello again, everyone. Yes, it's reached that time of the year where I've got to talk about the games I've beaten. I was joining on the 52 game challenge, so it's beating 52 games in a year. So, it equates to one a week, basically. I never do one a week. I usually do like 4 games, then I'll have a break for a couple of weeks, and then I'll go on a bit of a rampage and complete a load more. Don't know why. You'd think I'd burn out that way, but haven't yet. Anyway, usually I put out a video saying these are the 10 games, and every time I get to 10 games, I'd maybe say this is the 10 I've done and do it in increments of 10. But I haven't done that this time. I've kind of neglected putting any of this together on YouTube. I have been putting them up on Instagram, so if you've seen my posts, you know what I've beaten. But I will go through this now. It's a bit of a quick fire round of the 52. I've got a list of them in front of me, and I've got to try and remember everything that I did. It's been a year. I can't remember back to the beginning, but it'll be alright. We'll work this out. Hopefully, if I can, I'll put some footage over the top. If not, it's just me sitting here with a camera talking about games. So, a bit of an old school video. Right, let's crack on, shall we? Don't worry, I've got a beer. Well, the first one of the year, I didn't write down dates or times or anything when I beat these. But the first one of the year was one that I'd beaten the year before as well. It was Power Wash Simulator, but I did the PS5 version. Throughout the year, I've actually beaten all of them now, like the PS5, Xbox, Xbox One, Steam, and PS4 versions. I've still yet to ever play and beat the VR one because I don't have VR on my PC. So if I ever do, I'll dive back in for another one. I imagine it's pretty fun in VR. What is there? I've championed this game for a long time. Literally, you just clean stuff, and it's great. To me, it's like doing an adult coloring book, but in reverse. Would it be in reverse actually? It feels like you're bringing color back to the world where it's all dark and dingy. So yeah, a 3D coloring book basically is what I would call it. That's not solved that at all, has it? I'm gonna shut up about Power Simulator. Love it though. After that, I beat Cthulhu Saves Christmas. It's a small RPG where you play as Cthulhu and you've been stripped of your powers and you have to save a town at Christmas. It's alright. It was an easy platinum. I think it was strangely the first limited run game for the PS5. So there is a physical of it available. I'd recommend it. I did enjoy it. It took about 3 hours, I think, to get the platinum. I think it had a platinum. I can never remember if they have platinums or not. All PlayStation games should have a platinum. It would make it so much easier. The third game was The Bouncer. I spoke about this. Well, I spoke about quite a few of these first ones in my New Year, New Game that I did right back at the beginning of the year, where I play a new game every day for a month. I don't know if I'll do it this year or not. I don't know. I might have to do it. It takes a long time, but I might have to do it. Yeah, it's a PS2 like third person action game by Square. It's kind of like a 3D beat 'em up. It's really short. I beat it on stream in like 2 hours, but I'd recommend it if you find it for a couple of quid. It's worth the play. After that, I beat Gunstar Heroes on the Mega Drive. Yeah, little run and gun. I think everybody knows what it is by now. Pretty solid, to be honest with you. It's the first time I've ever beaten it. Actually, I didn't play the Mega Drive version. I played it on the Xbox 360, but still, it's the same game. I did it. I did it without save states. Yeah, because otherwise I wouldn't have counted it. I don't count things if you have to do that. Okay, after that, I did a game called Fresh Start on the PS5. It's like a little. It's supposed to be one of those cozy games. So you bring nature back to places that are run down. So you clean away dirt, you plant flowers. Yeah, it's a bit like Power Wash Simulator, but like way more budget than that. Way more budget. I wouldn't say it would have the appeal to most people that Power Wash Simulator would, but if you want something cozy and a bit time wastery, that was an easy platinum. I enjoyed it. After that was Chaos Break on the PS1, which is like a old school survival horror, but it kind of looks like a cross between, I don't know, like Dino Crisis and Resident Evil. I know that sounds stupid because Dino Crisis is Resident Evil pretty much with dinosaurs. But more of a spacey kind of thing, maybe a bit Galarian-y, looks like. I don't know. It was good though. Strangely, you have melee combat in it, in like punches and kicks, like almost beat 'em up style. But yeah, it's one that got rated really, really badly when it came out, but I genuinely really enjoyed it. You've got one bit in it though where if you're not good at rhythm games, you might struggle. You've got to be pinpoint accurate with this timing, and you're on a time limit while doing it. It's a bit of a nightmare, but never mind. Genuinely worth a play if you can get hold of it. I wouldn't say for cheap because it's not cheap anymore. But yeah, it's a good game if you like survival horrors. Then I recently bought the Analog Pocket, so I thought I'd start playing some games on it. So I thought I'd play some of my childhood favourites. So I played through Super Mario Land. Yeah, it didn't take long. It takes about, I think it took about 40 minutes. I used to be able to run that in one life. Not anymore. I hadn't played it in years, but I genuinely really enjoyed it. So then after that, I went on and did Super Mario Land 2, 6 gold coins. I did both of these in the same evening. Didn't think I was actually going to beat 6 golden coins, to be honest with you. I forgot how hard the last level was. It's not that hard, but going back at it with my old man reflexes, yeah, I wasn't the greatest. And you have to do the whole level without dying, and there's like multiple boss phases and stuff, and yeah, it's difficult. Was it boss phases? Might have been boss phases. I swear it's multiple boss phases. Because you fight Wario at the end, don't you? I can't remember. It was right near the beginning of the year. After that, I beat Infinax, which was one of the games for the Club 52. So it's an old school, like 8-bit kind of almost Castlevania kind of game, but not like Metroidvania, bit Wonder Boy-ish in exploration. Really good. It's got loads of strange hidden endings and secrets, and yeah, there's so many things you can do in that game, which are just nods to other games. It's definitely up there as like one of the best modern retro games ever made. I sat there and beat all the achievements on that, all the endings, and loved every second of it. It starts out it's pretty tough when you first start playing it, but the more you get into it, you unlock like cheats. You unlock like a game genie within the game, and you can use that to just break the game apart. And you can run it in about 30 minutes after, but you've like learned everything. It's genuinely worth playing. If there's a recommendation on this list so far, that's the one. Play that. After that, I did a weird one. For number 10, it was Hypnospace Outlaw. I don't really know how to explain this game. You work as like an enforcement agent, I think it is, for this thing. People use this thing called Hypno OS to log on and create websites, and you have to go through their websites to look for contraband and images that shouldn't be there, or anything like if there's bullying or something, you have to wipe it off the internet. It's really weird. So it's all set out like a really old, almost like Windows 3.1 kind of vibe to it. It's incredibly weird game, but I did enjoy it. It's got like a really weird story to it, like a kind of mystery kind of, well, not really mystery. I'm trying to think how to put it. I can't explain it. If you're going to play it, though, play it on a PC so you can use a mouse. You might actually be able to use a mouse in the console version. I don't know. It was on Game Pass. It was weird. After that, I did Road Trip Shifting Gears. So yeah, that was done on the Game Boy Advance. It's part of like the Chorokyu franchise. So you take these little miniature cars and slowly but surely do them up to beat races. This one doesn't have any of like the open world car PG stuff to it. It's more just a straightforward racing game, but it's pretty cool. Just upgrading your little cars, and it's pretty easy. Road Trip Shifting Gears is the US name for it because that's how I found it in a game shop. I don't know. It might have been just called Gadget Racers in the UK. Don't quote me on that though. After that, I did a game called A Short Hike. It's where you play like a little bird kind of guy. and you climb up a mountain. But it's one of those cozy games where you don't really do much. You run around talking to people, and do like fetch quests and things. That's about it. But it's got like a weird kind of voxely art style to it. Yeah, it was just really chill and I enjoyed it. Number 13 was Power Wash Adventure. That was on Steam. It's just literally a Power Wash Simulator clone. It looks exactly the same. Down to the fact that if you were to quickly look at a like screenshot side by side, you think they'd added new levels to Power Wash Simulator. But no, it is just another game. It works the same. It's not as polished in some bits. Like, you can see that the dirt works better in Power Wash Simulator. But I'd recommend it if you want more Power Wash Simulator. Give a Power Wash Adventure a go. After that, I beat Arcade Paradise. It's a game I've spoken about on here before in depth on a video, where you take over I think it's your dad's laundromat, and slowly but surely turn it into a full-fledged arcade, and you can play all the games and all the machines. Yeah, it's really good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't a difficult game. It was just a bit long. Then I beat Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, which, yeah, is if you've played the first Hot Wheels Unleashed, this is an easier game. It didn't have as many difficult time trials. But yeah, it is just a well-made Hot Wheels racing game. It's got pretty good drifting mechanics, is what makes it a good game, I think, anyway. Okay, on to number 16, was Disney's Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse on the Game Boy Advance. It is a port of a Super Nintendo game. It's a platformer. I beat it in one sitting. It was really easy. I can't think of anything else that was standing out. Otherwise, I think when you got to the bosses, I think it was really easy. You could charge up an attack, which like made them really easy. I can't remember. That was so long ago, but I did enjoy it, and it made me want to look into more. I think there's 3 in that series. I don't know if the others came to the Game Boy Advance. I don't think they did in the UK anyway. 2 might have, but not 3. I don't know. Don't quote me on anything. After that, I beat Super Metroid on. I did it on the SNES Classic. I'd never beaten Super Metroid. I'd only ever had a couple of goes at it. And yeah, I streamed the entire thing. I did get a bit frustrated with it because I just kept getting lost. But the feeling of actually beating it was, I don't know. It was something that I'd missed in games for a long time. It felt like I'd actually achieved something, if that makes sense. It wasn't just like there's another end credits. But yeah, it was really good. I did struggle a bit with a couple of the bosses. I didn't get many power-ups or anything, just because I was dreadful at it. But I don't know. I probably made it way harder for myself. I usually do with games. So just because I'm not good at noticing mechanics that should be used, I just brute force everything. Okay, number 18 was Gun Gauge on the PS1. It's a third-person shooter, set in a weird kind of. It kind of looks a bit like that Chaos Break I was talking about earlier, but it's got a few more outdoor areas. But there's a bit where you fight a weird boss thing on a train. That really looks like Chaos Break, to be honest with you. Genuinely pretty good. Bit clunky. You can tell it's off its time. But I'd recommend a playthrough of it. It wasn't very long. I think it took about 2 hours, I think, maybe. I don't know. Not my phone. Computer's beeping at me. Number 19 was God of War 3 Remastered. This again came up as a Club 52 game. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest. I don't know why. It's not the quick time events or anything. It's more it feels like mindless bashing of the square button. And then it's just it's got that beat a certain amount of enemies to open a door to go to the next room to do the same thing again, but with slightly different areas. I'll give it, the story was cool. It looked good. Some of the scenes were brutal. Like the woman holding open the door at one point. That's pretty brutal. But yeah, it's a series I've never really put much time into, but I've got the newer ones to play, so I'm going to give them a go hopefully next year. and, well, it'll come in handy for doing them next year, which I'll explain in a bit. After that, I beat DJ Max Respect V, or 5. I don't know if it is actually 5. It could be. There's so many DJ Max games. It's a rhythm game. I played it across the Xbox Series X and the PC. To beat the game, I had to move to the PC. You have to literally be playing it with a mechanical keyboard, as it becomes that complex. It is an incredibly difficult game to beat, genuinely. It's up there, I think, as one of the hardest games I've ever beaten in my life. I haven't done all the DLC, and I probably never will, because that's even harder than the main game. But I popped that achievement that said all achievements in the base game done, and that was good enough for me to count that one. I have got the PS4 version, which isn't V, but it is Respect, I think. I don't know. I think it's the same game, but with like slightly different spin on it. I don't know. I haven't played it. I'll find out. I'll find out next year. Then I beat Saturday Morning RPG. This is a game I have reviewed on the channel. It was the start of my aim to beat every single PS4 limited run game in order, which I'm still doing. I'm getting there. There is another one on this list, but I'll explain at that point why I haven't put a video out for it yet or anything. Yeah, it's a little nostalgia-laden RPG game, turn-based one. It's worth playing. It was good fun. Yeah, if you want to know more about it, check the review. Or not, it's not great. Number 22 was Little Kitty Big City. It's like another one of I like cozy little games. Don't ask me why. I guess I don't know, helps me relax. Yeah, you play as a little cat going around a town. You can annoy people. You can, I don't know, you just kind of, I can't remember if you reunite people. I don't know what you do. I can't remember. All I remember is climbing around a city, collecting stuff, picking up fish and taking them places and dropping things to people. I think it's just a collectathon, but with a cat. That's all I remember of it. I remember it being an easy 1000G though, but I did enjoy it. After that was The Wolf Among Us on the Xbox 360. These next few, I've done an entire video about when I beat my million gamer score. I was aiming to beat a lot of Xbox 360 games. So the next, I think it's like 15 or so games are them. So if you want to know anything about them in depth, again, check out the gamer score, a 1 million gamer score video. They'll tell you more about the games. Better than me just off the cuff with a beer, trying to remember. But it's one of, well, Wolf Among Us is, can't talk. Wolf Among Us is one of those Telltale games, so it's a story-driven, like, almost point-and-click, kind of what they've evolved into games where there's very little gameplay, but the story's what makes it. The 360 version is pretty rough around the edges. I'd play one of the newer versions. After that, I did Dancing Stage Universe 2. I got to the point where I rolled the credits and I'd done everything apart from a couple of the challenges, like the apocalyptic challenges and that. So I didn't get the 1000G, but I saw the credits roll and that was good enough. Then I did Disney's Brave, which was like a kind of it's almost like a top-down twin-stick shooter platformer. It's surprisingly good for what it is, but I recommend playing it on like one of the newer Xboxes through backwards compatibility, because that will allow it to be much smoother than it is on the 360. Then I beat a game called Backyard Football 10. It's literally an incredibly bad American football game that looks like it's ripped straight from the PS2. I don't usually count games like that on my lists of things like this because it was meant to be really short. But I don't understand the rules of American football, so I sucked at it, and it took me a long time. I say a long time, like a couple of hours, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's dreadful. It's an American exclusive. It's shocking. After that, I did another American exclusive. I guess I still had the American Xbox hooked up. So I played through NASCAR Unleashed, which is a more arcadey NASCAR game. So it's not just turning around in a circle all the time. It has proper tracks and stuff. It's not the greatest thing you'll ever play, but I had a good time with it, and it was very easy completion. 28 was the Smurfs 2. Yeah, that was a bad game. It's a 2D platformer made by WayForward, but it's nowhere near WayForward's best work. I just completely avoid it. It's soulless. It feels like a mobile game. After that, I beat Captain America Super Soldier on the 360, which is a game I would recommend. Strangely, it's starting to shoot up in value at the moment. But yeah, it's Captain America, but with like Arkham kind of combat. It's worth playing. It's good fun. I really enjoyed it. Then it was the second game in the challenge for all the limited run games. So number 30 was Oddworld New and Tasty. I beat the game on hard. I didn't get all the Madokans. I didn't do it in a time run, the speed run or nothing. But I saw the credits roll and it stressed me out, that game. It was hard. I thought that doing it on hard would have done something. No, you have to do it on hard and get all the Madokans. Then you've got to speed run it. Then you've got to do all these different things. My reason for not putting a video out for it yet is I want to aim to try and get the platinum on it. I'm not good at the game. I'm absolutely dreadful at the game. I had people ripping me in the Twitch chat. Some guy came in and told me I needed to die. So my playing was that bad. But I'm going to go back and try and do it. If not, it'll be a game that beats me, and there'll still be a video about it. But this is where I'm going to mention the fact that next year, hopefully, instead of a 52 game challenge, there's been like talkings of a 52 platinum challenge, and I might go for that because my trophy score isn't the greatest, and I might try and up it for something to do. I've got a lot of PlayStation games I haven't played, way more on the PlayStation I haven't played than on the Xbox, so it might be a PlayStation year. You never know. Then 31 was Morbid the Seven Acolytes. It was a game that was pulled for the 52 game challenge again. Yeah, it's a 2D kind of top-down almost Souls-like. It's pretty good, to be honest with you. There is a bit of a weird sanity meter on it that can drain your health all the time. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. But other than that, good game. I made it much harder for myself because, again, didn't realise there was a mechanic in it of how you had to apply upgrades. So I got all the way to the final boss and the final phase without ever upgrading anything. So yeah, it's probably a much easier game than I made it. After that, I did Brave: A Warrior's Tale on the 360. Absolutely dreadful. It's like a port of a PS2 game. It's a 3D platformer with an American Indian kind of setting. But yeah, it's a buggy, broken mess. Do not play it. After that was Pimp My Ride, another one. Do not play. It's a really bad. It's not even a racer. You just drive around cities, crashing into cars, then doing stupid QuickTime events to build up money, to then do a timed event where you have to run around and get all the parts to pimp up a car. But you don't really do any pimping, you just buy the most expensive part and it automatically puts it on the car. It's so bad. So bad. So repetitive as well. It's like 16 levels of the exact same thing over and over. Do not play. Number 34 was Samurai Shodown Sen on the 360. Not great. I'm not great at all at fighters. This one I was able to beat by cheesing it. I was just using the same character over and over with a really quick kind of stab, and then hoping to beat the final boss each time with a different character to get all the achievements, basically. It's a pretty easy completion if you do that. But yeah, if you're looking for a solid fighter, it might be in there. I'm just not the one to tell you. After that, 35 was Fort Solace. It's like a narrative-driven horror game set on a space station. But it's not like supernatural or anything. But it's very good. I enjoyed it. I can't really say much about it without spoiling it, but yeah, if you like kind of Until Dawn and that kind of games, you might enjoy it. It's exploring, very little kind of like interaction other than looking for things. But yeah, good game. Really enjoyed it. Quite short too. Oh, 36 was another bad one. I beat Motorcycle Club on the Xbox 360. A really, really bad, really janky motorbike game where you have to change bike you're driving halfway through races, like on the fly to change to match like the gravel and the dirt and the tarmac. But yeah, it's one that could give people some motion sickness. It's so choppy, it throws the camera around everywhere. Yeah, I actually might play the PS4 version though at some point just to see if it is smoother, but I doubt it. I don't think it will be. After that was Spiderwick Chronicles. Yeah, a tie-in kids game on the 360. Yeah, it was bad. It had unlimited enemies that just got in your way when, like, you had to try and catch these fairies in this net, but every time you caught them, you had to do this like little watercolor mini game, but it didn't pause the action around. And with unlimited spawning enemies, you'd be almost capturing this fairy, then it would just launch enemies at you, and you'd have to do it again, or the fairy would bugger off. It was nightmare. It's not hard. It's just frustrating in bits like that. '38 was Cat Quest 3, a whole series that I recommend people should play. It's just a little casual top-down RPG with a cat theme to it. The sequel introduced dogs, and then the third one introduced like a pirate theme, so you've got a ship to travel around to different lands. They're not very long games, they're not very big games, but I love them. Like, literally, that was on my wish list for this year to play Cat Quest 3. That's how much I enjoy Cat Quest 3. And just Cat Quest in general. After that, it was Minecraft Story Mode. Again, I talked about this in the 360 video. It's another Telltale game, so it's more of a interactive movie kind of thing where you make a few dialogue choices and look around for some stuff. I genuinely enjoyed it though. I thought it was going to be really bad, but yeah, it went places I didn't think it was going to, like murder mystery and all different stuff. It was pretty fun. After that was the final game for the 360 challenge. I think was the Chronicles of Narnia: Prince Caspian that I beat. This was bad. It was it's a Traveller's Tales game, so it was like, it played a bit like a really early Lego game, where you have different characters that do different things, but it didn't. It was just really ugly looking, and none of the combat felt like it was connecting with anything. I'd just avoid it unless you want the gamer score, which is very easy, but it's still not. It's not that short. I think it took me about 10 hours, so play at your own risk on that one. Number 41 was Voodoo Vince Remastered. This was another one from the 52 Club, whatever it's, Game Club 52, whatever we call it, I don't know. Yeah, I was the one that chucked this one into the wheel, and I really enjoyed it. It's a 3D platformer with a voodoo theme, so you can do damage to yourself, which hurts other enemies around you. It's a pretty easy game. It was a well-made platformer. Apart from the last level, it gets a bit stupid. Like, they expect you to do some platforming that doesn't really work. But apart from that, yeah, I'd love to see a sequel to it. I'd play it. 42 was Perky Little Things. I'm not going to talk too much about this one or the one after this, because I intend on doing a video at some point talking about certain games, but it's a adult themed hidden object game. I'll leave it at that, but I did beat it. After that was Waifu Uncovered, which is an adult themed really cheap, nasty shmup, basically. It was vertical, I think, if I remember rightly. I didn't play a great deal of it. I did see all the endings. They were all the same, if I remember rightly. Just you could play as different people, or did you unlock? No, you might have unlocked different girls to see. I don't know. It was bad, really bad. But I've got the sequel to play, so I felt seedy as hell playing them. Seedy as hell. Let's walk away from that. Let's play something good, shall we? 44 is Astrobot on the PS5. One of the most fun platformers I have played in a long time. It seriously gives anything that Nintendo has made a run for its money. I would just say go out and play it. There's a couple of things I don't like about it. I don't like the fact that it is like Sony having a wank in a mirror, basically, in it. Um, I understand that the whole idea of it is the celebration of Sony and everything, and all the PlayStation stuff. But at some point, if any other company had done it, say if Xbox had done it, people wouldn't be happy. But it's a very, very good game. I would recommend it. It's up there as one of the best I've played this year. After that was a game called Dungeons and Bombs, which is a little like puzzle game where you have to put down bombs and move around mazes in a certain amount of moves. But like you can get more moves by blowing things up with bombs. It's really bad. I wouldn't usually have put this on the list, but it took me a long time to do it because I was an idiot and did it without a guide. After that was a game called Little Gator Game, which I played on Game Pass. Genuinely really enjoyed this. Again, it was a little, I think it was done by something to do with Platonic Games or friends of Platonic Games. I don't know. It comes off the beginning. But yeah, you play as like a little gator who wants to get his sister, who's like doing her uni work or something, to play with him again. So he makes this island into like a big game. There's no combat in it. All the enemies are cardboard cutouts that don't move. Again, yeah, it's a cozy exploration, chatty game, but I really enjoyed it. I like these small games where you just explore stuff. I don't know why. After that was, well, it was a bit of a difference in the shift in tone. It was 47 was Nightmare Creatures on the PS1. That is a tough game, really tough game. If you never played it, it's a third-person hack and slash adventure game set in like a gothic London, and yeah, you could call it Bloodborne before Bloodborne, but it isn't. It's not that in depth or anything. It's level based. It's got combo systems and stuff, but you can make your way through it by just like mashing one button up until the final boss, who makes you use combos. But yeah, it's got this like meter in it called the adrenaline meter. So if you're not fighting an enemy, that like depletes, and if that depletes, you die. So you have to keep going from enemy to enemy as fast as possible, which makes it surprisingly difficult. Like you want to go around and explore, but you can't. I did hear that there's apparently a cheat that turns that off. I wish I'd done that, but I didn't. I just went through and yeah, I suffered through it, but I enjoyed it. I don't want to call it suffering because it's difficult. It's a couple of hits and you're dead. Then you have to, like, when you run out of lives, you restart the level kind of thing. It's tough, but rewarding to finish. After that, it was Emio, the Smiling Man on the Switch. I don't play many Switch games, and not that many first-party Nintendo games, to be honest with you. It's a visual novel, but it's set around like a murder mystery. It was billed as being like a horror game for the Switch. It's got an 18 rating. To be honest, I was wondering. I played all the way through it and thought, I don't understand why this is like an 18 rating to it at all. But there is a second part to the game once you beat it, and that kind of might be where it gets its rating from. But I really enjoyed it. It's not for everyone. It's very slow. It's very... The characters, like, they talk about nonsense for no reason, I think, to pad the game out, like most visual novels. But I genuinely enjoyed it. Like, I was glued to it. And you don't often get that glued to visual novels. Sometimes, like a book, I'll pick them up and do a chapter here and there, and they take me a while to beat. But this one I did in like a couple of days, and yeah, I really liked it. But I've heard people aren't too keen for some reason. But yeah, I'd give it a recommendation if you enjoy visual novels. Getting close to the end here. Number 49 was Fall Guys. Yes, it's a game I've been working on for years. I don't even like it. I started it on the PS4 as well, so I'm going to have to finish it there. But not long ago, well, actually it was a while ago now, it might have been even the year before, they ran a little event where you could get crowns really easy. So I knocked out all the hard stuff, and since then I've been slowly but surely working on just grinding out stuff like collecting costumes and things, and I finally ticked over finishing it. Yeah, if you've never played it, it's a little kind of like online only arena, kind of like obstacle courses, and the last person alive is the winner, basically. It's okay. After that was Caladrius Blaze on the PS4. It's a shooter, shmup. I want to get the platinum out of it. I don't know if I will. I've beat it with every character. I've beat all the I've done a 1cc run on it. I've done almost all the trophies, apart from needing to get a 1 life run. And I can get to the last boss, and then I usually die. So I think I can do it, but it's gonna be tough. It's not the hardest of shooters, but when you try and do anything like that in 1 life, it's a bit difficult. But I'd recommend it. Again, I don't know if I'll be able to put footage up of that. When I started playing it, I didn't know it was going to be one of those ones where you end up shooting the clothes off of women. Didn't know. But just seems to be the stuff that draws me in somehow. After that, number 51 was Super Life Pixel. It's the game I recently put a video out about. I was challenged to play the game and beat it by Retro Ghetto. Not only did I beat it, I went ahead and platinumed it. It was tough in points. It took a lot of time. It's a much longer game than you think, and it just keeps asking more and more from you. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'd play it again. I've played a lot of games like it. So yeah, there'll definitely be something like it in the future I'll play as well. And the final game, number 52, was a game called Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island. I got addicted to this. Basically you're on a boat, you get shipwrecked, and you end up on an island full of I think it's Greek gods, like all Zeus and stuff and mythological things, and they've all lost their memories, and you spend all your time going around finding items for them to jog their memories, doing little quests for them, such as like feeding seagulls, translating these like stone tablet-y things, all this stuff, and there's like an overarching story behind it and everything. But yeah, it was one of those ones where the map wasn't massive. It was good to feel like you were opening new bits, but once you've done it, it was all interconnected really well. So traversing the island wasn't annoying. So I kind of always felt like I was moving forward. So yeah, I just enjoyed it. I did it in a oneer. The first day I played it, start to finish, I think it took me about 9 hours, 8-9 hours. Yeah, just really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's it. That is 52 games beaten in a year. Yeah, sorry this isn't like a scripted thing or something. And there's been a lot of ums and a lot of all that kind of thing. And I'm casually drinking a beer. But yeah, I don't have time at the moment. There's a lot of stuff going on to do a deeper video. If I can put footage in, well, you'll know because you will have seen it by now. If not, let me know down in the comments. I want to, if you played any of these that you would want to play. Probably not by any of my descriptions. My descriptions have been terrible. But trying to remember what you've played over an entire year is quite difficult. Going with the fact that these aren't all the games I beat. I do beat a lot of games in between these, but they're things that are smaller that may have taken an hour or so I don't count them on the list because it was just a fleeting moment. That sounded awful. That sounded bad. Never mind. Right, I'm buggering off now. Have fun, people.